Take a look at this guy. He looks like he's on vacation. He has probably flown for hours on a plane just to get to a beach here, in the Caribbean. Vacation is a special time. You know how you get summer break each year? Well, adults aren't quite as lucky. Some adults only get to take 2 weeks off work each year. And for a lot of adults, they'll do whatever they can to make the most of that time. Well, if vacation is so special, then why is this guy just sitting on the beach doing nothing? Shouldn't he be up making the most of his time? Well, it's likely that part of the reason he's happy just lying here is because of this: sunlight. One of the best feelings in the world is lying down and feeling warm sunlight hit your body. But when you stop and think about it, that sounds pretty weird. He is getting hit by sunlight. Since when do people like getting hit by things? Nobody likes when they get hit by the rain. This guy wouldn't have wanted to take his vacation in a rainy park. And things could get way worse than rain. Take a look at this. This family's pool looks like it's being attacked, but it isn't an attack, it's hail. Frozen chunks of ice that fall from the sky. Hail can cause a lot of damage. Here's a car that's had its windshield smashed by hail. And this car actually had its metal dented from hail. Our vacation friend wouldn't like getting hit by hail. If he was in a hailstorm, pretty soon he could end up in an ambulance. And it isn't just about things that fall from the sky either. Imagine he was on a vacation in the desert. Well, sometimes in the desert, one of these might form. This is a sandstorm, where winds blow sand around really fast. You may have felt something like this if you've ever been to the beach on a windy day. Being hit by grains of sand can sting and really hurt. If you don't believe me, take a look at this guy. He's using a sand blaster, which is a machine that shoots sand. Watch as the sand strips away the paint on this container. You would not want to be hit by this, because getting hit by sand can really hurt. And we're not just talking about things from nature either. We hate getting hit by almost anything. Watch this guy. He's about to get hit by a soccer ball in slow motion. Ouch. So we don't like getting hit by sand, by water, by ice, or by soccer balls, but we do like getting hit by sunlight. What makes sunlight different than all these other things? That's our big question for today. Why doesn't sunlight hurt when it hits you? Well, to understand, let's start by making a few observations. Here I have a cup on a scale. This scale measures the weight of things. Weight is a measure of how heavy something is. You can watch this number here and see that as I add water to this cup, the weight increases. The more water I add, the heavier it gets. The same would happen if I added sand, ice, or soccer balls to this cup as well. But take a look at what happens when I add light to the cup. When I shine this flashlight in, the weight doesn't change. So what can I say based on these observations? Well, you could say things like sand, water, ice, and soccer balls all have weight. We could measure them on a scale. However, sunlight doesn't have any weight. And it isn't just weight either. Let's take a look at that cup again. If I have the same cup of water and keep pouring more water in, eventually, it overflows. You run out of space in the cup for water. But if you take the same flashlight as before and shine it into the cup, it doesn't change the amount of space in the cup. I can shine another flashlight in just as easily. In fact, I could shine 1,000 flashlights into the cup. It would never fill up. So based on these observations, what do you know is true? Based on those observations, you can say that sand, water, ice, and soccer balls all take up space. Sunlight doesn't take up any space. We can name everything around us based on these two rules. Things that have weight and take up space are called matter. Meanwhile, if something doesn't have weight and doesn't take up space, you can say that that is not matter. The definition of matter is anything that has weight and takes up space. Matter is all around us. Can you brainstorm a list of things around you that are made of matter? There are so many of these that you should be able to come up with a lot. Well, I don't know exactly what you thought of, but everything from your desk and your chair to a piece of paper, a soccer ball, a stuffed animal, or your iPhone are all types of matter. All of these have weight, and all of them take up space. Now here's a harder one. Can you think of things that are not matter? What are things that don't have weight and don't take up space? You'll need to think a little creatively here. Well, we already went over that sunlight isn't matter. But some other things you might have thought of is sound. Rainbows. You can't fill up a cup with rainbows. You also can't fill up a cup with the feeling of love or the feeling of anger. And lastly, you could never fill up a cup with your dreams, no matter how real they feel. Some things are a little more tricky to figure out. Later, you'll have a chance to think about some objects where it can be hard to tell whether to call it matter or not matter. But for now, just remember, matter is anything that has weight and takes up space. If you can prove something has weight and you can prove it takes up space, that thing is made of matter.